What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy Sports Now. Today we're doing the injury report as of 420. If you want to jump right into the content with me, hit the subscribe button because I'm not going to waste your time, and I don't like wasting your time, and I don't like wasting my time. So let's just jump right into this. Last night, Mookie Betts got hit in the forearm. I was watching this game. It did not look very good, but he did stay in the game. Forearm's kind of a tricky one. They're going to evaluate him today. He was in pain, guys. It did not look good. I'm sure they're going to check for fractures and broken bones here at this point. If he broke his bone, he's going to be out for a while, which is not good, obviously, because he probably took Mookie Betts in the top three. So not what we want to see. We'll know more about this one on Friday. Yeah, it says stay tuned, and we're going to stay tuned. So hopefully he's okay, but it didn't look very good, so we'll see what happens there. Next, Ronald Lacuna. He's got the abdominal strain. It didn't really say what part of the abdominal, but the good news is that the MRI basically came back and said that he's okay. So I'm guessing they'll probably baby him for a few more days here, and he'll be back in the lineup. An IL trip is not expected at this point, which is great news for all of us who also took him in the top three. So Cuna's news turns out to be better than Mookie Betts' news at this point, which is kind of surprising. Next, we're rocking right through these. Lance Lynn goes out with a trapeze issue. Not really what you want to hear from a pitcher, especially if you're Chicago White Sox. It's not really what you want to be hearing. So he's on the IL. They made it retroactive and all that stuff. I'm sure they're hoping that he comes back, and in not too long of a time. But I think that he's going to be out probably a month, is my guess, honestly, because I don't think they're going to want to risk their big free agent sign coming back and hurting himself for the rest of the year. Like this kind of says there was no indication of this; it just kind of happened, and that's not good. So we're going to have to keep up with this, but I expect Lance Lynn to probably be out longer than probably most people think. And like I said, I'm thinking right now this injury sounds like about a month. Next is Cody Bellinger, and if you watched and followed this channel, we talked about him. He had this leg contusion, and I don't want to say we called him out because we didn't really call him out, but it didn't make sense. It wasn't adding up. He wasn't playing, and they kept calling it a bruise. And it was like, okay, yeah, I get it. Like, you don't want to have your star stud guy. You're going to make the playoffs probably anyway. You just want to be as healthy as possible. Well, it turns out our confusion with the reports and what was actually happening turns out to be real. He has a hairline fracture in his fibula. So it's obviously more than just a contusion, and it's going to take some time to heal this thing at this point. This kind of says like it's not a day-to-day thing anymore when they thought it was a contusion. And it makes a lot more sense why he wasn't playing with a bruise, because that's kind of what we're getting. I was like, why isn't he playing? It's just a bruise. This is kind of getting silly at this point. Yeah, so it turns out to be much longer than that. It's probably going to be a month at least, is my guess. You got a fracture in your Anyway, you guys know how long broken bones take to heal. Strasburg, of course. Who would have thought that Strasburg would find his way back on the DL? This time, though, it's not good. It's not good. He had the calf thing coming into the season. Usually, he goes down with some kind of injury throughout the year, and but the one you really, really don't want to see, obviously, you don't want to see elbow, but you really also, for him at his age, you do not want to see shoulder issues, because for elbows, they have Tommy John. It is fixable in baseball. It is fixable. It can be done. But in baseball, they don't have a Tommy John for shoulders. So I think of old school. If you're old school like me, Brandon Webb, he was great, and then he hurt his shoulder and he could not come back, and he never came back. And I'm not saying that's going to happen to Strasburg here, but it seems like he's leaning towards that direction of just not being a stable fantasy player. That's for sure. So we got to keep an eye on this, because it's just. It's what we expected, honestly. If you took Strasburg, it was a high risk play, and unfortunately, this is what happens. Getting into Mondesi here, it's kind of crazy. He's got the oblique. Springer had the oblique, which I probably should have had Springer up here. I didn't see any update on Springer yet, so I'll have to look for Friday's episode on Springer. But these obliques, I keep telling you guys, they linger and they continue to just hinder hitters. Wrists and obliques are like the worst thing. I mean, besides like breaking or tearing your ACL, but like obliques and wrists are really bad for hitters. And you can see here that Mondesi basically, he's not even cleared to swing a bat. That's how bad this oblique is. So, I mean, obviously, if you have IL spots, you keep them there. But at some point here, if you're desperate for moves, you might be cutting Mondesi, which really sucks. Starling Marte went down. He fractured his 12th rib. I don't know what side your 12th rib is on, but I've had like a floating rib thing that like moves and it feels weird. I can only imagine fracturing your rib cannot feel good. We talk about obliques. It's kind of in that same general area. But this keeps talking about shutting him down for 5 to 7 days. I think he's going to be out at least a few weeks. I assume they're going to want that thing healed up and ready to go. Not wanting to risk doing more damage, especially, this is baseball. You're diving, you're sliding, you're doing all these fun things. I know football players could play with broken ribs. They do have the pads up front, which help a little bit. I know they're obviously getting hit, which is not good. I think Drew Brees had all these rib injuries and still tried to play, but it's just not. It doesn't seem worth it for Marte to try to rush this back. So I expect him to be out a couple of weeks here. Rendon went down, which is not good as well. But I expect him to have a short stint on the IL. He's hitting off the tee already, and he's doing some light kind of work. I think the Angels are just being careful, honestly, with this one. I think that he'll be back as soon as he can be back. The groin thing heals usually pretty well for the most part, and so that's what I expect with him. Now we're going to get into some good news, and there's just a few names left. We like to keep these nice and short. Lamet is going to pitch Wednesday. Let's see what happens, guys. I mean, I'm skeptical. I'm very skeptical, but we'll see. I don't think he'll go more than 60 pitches, probably, even if he's dominating. And I think that it might be that way for probably the better half of this month. And we'll see. I guess all the chips are on the table now for Lamet, and we're finally going to see if kind of getting around this elbow issue actually worked, or if it's not, and he's going to need Tommy John anyway. So we'll find out soon. Colton Long is coming back. He had the oblique thing going on. His seems to be a little bit less serious. That's good. We'll see if it hinders him in any way. I keep talking about obliques and how it hinders you and how it affects your performance and how it can come back and all that stuff. So we'll see what happens to Colton Long, but he is on his way back. Ohtani is going to pitch again. Yay! They keep saying about a blister. I don't buy the blister thing. I think that he got hit. When he was pitching, they kind of had that collision at home. He had the blister. It was just kind of like compounding things where they're like, you know what, nah, let's just leave the guy and not pitch him for a while. They're only going to throw him 75 pitches, which is fine, for Ohtani. And, he's hitting great. So you got your value out of Ohtani already. So it's good to see that he's going to be pitching again, and we'll see. They're going to continue to baby this guy big time when it comes to pitching, though. And then I think the last name here I have is Kyle Lewis. He's finally coming back. We get to see what this young guy's got. Obviously had a massive rookie year. So a lot of people think sophomore slump's coming. A lot of people think that he's going to emerge and continue to look like Griffey. So if he's available in leagues, it might be worth a pickup here, knowing that he's coming back, because Kyle Lewis was awesome. And if he really is, the real deal, we have Randy Arozarena on all our teams. Kyle Lewis needs to probably be on all your teams. And one of my leagues he's not, and I think I might go pick him up right now. Anyway, guys, that's it for the injury report. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.